Okay, welcome everybody to my very first online instructional video. So this is something I've been wanting to do for a really long time. One of the things that was holding me back was because I'm a I'm a perfectionist, and I wanted the video production to be perfect and to have all everything planned out, so it was just progressing in like little bite-sized chunks, and that was kind of paralyzing. It was stopping me from actually doing this. So I decided that I'm just going to jump in. It's probably going to be some more advanced topics at first. I think I'll probably get around to doing some simpler videos in the future. But for right now, as a means for me to just make sure that I actually do it, I want to talk about things that that are exciting me, that are getting me excited. So, what are we going to talk about today? We're going to talk about the diminished scale, also sometimes referred to as the octatonic scale, or I've also heard it referred to as the dominant 8-note scale. And more specifically, this is the half-whole diminished scale. Okay, the half-whole diminished scale in a jazz context anyway is usually associated with playing over a dominant 7th chord, primarily. Okay, and the construction of the scale is as follows. It's completely symmetrical in minor third intervals. So if we begin on C, we're going to go up a half step to C sharp or D flat, and up a whole step to E flat. And then that pattern will repeat every minor third interval, beginning here. So now up a half step, up a whole step, up a half step, up a whole step, up a half step, up a whole step. Okay, so one of the things which makes the scale so great is the symmetry. Okay, because it is symmetrical, there are lots and lots of different ways that we can break up and subdivide the scale, and it will very neatly work out a lot of the time in really cool ways. So one of the things that is quite known among more advanced jazz students is that the scale contains both a major and a minor triad every minor third interval. So to take the first part, what's that, first 6 notes, notice that we have a C, we have a G, and we have an E natural. Okay, there's your C major chord. But we also have an E flat. Okay, so we got C major and we have C minor. Now, because everything just repeats every minor third interval up, we are also going to have E flat major and E flat minor. F sharp major, F sharp minor, A major, A minor. Another jazz context, which is somewhat adjacent to this, is the idea of what we call triad pairs. So a triad pair basically means 2 triads that exist within a key with no repeated notes. And you can use just the notes of those 2 triads when you're improvising. So if you're in D Dorian, for instance, it's quite common to use the triad pairs of C major and D minor. Okay. Another term for triad pairs, by the way, is hexatonics, because it's going to make 6 notes of the scale instead of the traditional 7 that we normally encounter. Now, as I said before, one of the things about triad pairs is that they have to not have any repeated notes. It's not really a triad pair if there is a common note between 2 of the triads. Now in the diminished scale, going back, since we have the triads, major triads and the minor triads every minor third interval 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, sorry, we've got 4 major triads, 4 minor triads. There's a lot of triad pairs in there, a lot of ways to combine 2 of those triads and not repeat any notes, and I'm going to go through all of them. So the first rule is, if you have a triad and you go up to another triad, a tritone above, it doesn't matter if it's major or minor on either one, there will be no repeated notes, okay? So, C major, go up a tritone to F sharp major, no repeated notes. By the way, this chord, segue, in classical music, this chord is referred to as the Petrushka chord, made famous in Stravinsky's ballet of the same name. Anyway, so you can see that there's no repeated notes. Now what if I did C minor to F sharp major? Still no repeated notes. What if I did C minor to F sharp minor? Still no repeated notes. Or C major to F sharp minor, no repeated notes. So if you're keeping track, that's 4 different triad pairs just with the tritone combination. And we can do that same tritone combination on a different degree. Starting on the 3rd degree, on the E flat chord, this would be E flat major, right? And its tritone, if you're paying attention, would be A. So there's E flat major, there's A. No repeated notes. E flat minor, A minor, no repeated notes. E flat minor, A major, no repeated notes. E flat major, A minor, no repeated notes. So all up, that's actually 8 different triad pairs. 8 different triad pairs already, just by combining triads which are separated by a tritone within the scale. So what can we do with that? Well, you can, and you should, practice ways of navigating between the triad pairs. So very simply, we could start off just going up the C major, okay, and then down the F sharp major. This is a pattern I like to practice. You're going to go up the C major, and we're going to go up to the next note, the next closest note of the F sharp major triad, which happens to be A sharp, and we're going to go down the F sharp major triad. Then we're going to go up to the next note of the C major, then up to the next note of the F sharp and down that again, and so on. And this is the pattern you're going to get. It's a bit silly, but anyway. Okay. Now, we could do that again with one of these slight alterations of the triad pattern. Let's do it with C minor to F sharp minor. That's a great one. Notice in my left hand, I'm just holding out a shell for C dominant 7. All of these will work over a dominant 7th chord, and there's so many dominant 7th chords in jazz, so this just gives you so many options. So many, it's crazy. Okay, I'm not going to go through all the other possible combinations, but hopefully you can see just how many options there are. Now there's other triad pairs as well. If we have a major chord to start off with, we can go up a minor 3rd to a minor chord, and that will create a triad pair with no repeated notes. So starting on C major, go to E flat minor, boom, no repeated notes. If I went to E flat major, notice there's a repeated G. So that's not really a triad pair. Okay? So the rule is, if you begin on a major chord, you can go up a minor third to a minor triad. Now, what if we started on a minor chord? Can I go up to the minor triad? No, I can't, because the E flat is common to both chords. And obviously, I can't go from the minor chord up to E flat major either, because E flat major is still going to have E flat, right? And the E flat's the problem here. Notice that actually makes a minor 7, which we're going to get to in a bit. So when we're ascending by a minor third, if we start on a major chord, then the ascending triad, the triad of minor third above, I should say, must be minor. And if we start on a minor chord, we can't actually go up a minor third at all, whether it's minor or major, because it's going to have the note of the minor third in it already. All right? So major chord, up a minor third to a minor triad. That's a pair. Now, we can also go down a minor third. What if I begin on C minor? If I begin on C minor, can I go down to A minor? No, I can't do that because the C is repeated. But if I begin on C minor and go down to A major, yes, that is a triad pair. There are no repeated notes. And this is actually really the reverse of the rule that I said before, okay? A major triad can go up to a minor triad. And this is a minor triad going down to a major triad. So it's really the same thing. And then you practice those triad pairs. Okay? Or now, let's get to some seventh chords. So far we've been talking about chords that exist off the first, third, flat 5 and 6 degree, okay? Which happens to spell out a diminished chord as well, of course. But there's another diminished chord within the scale, which is this one. Another way to think about this scale is that it is actually 2 diminished seventh chords just stacked a minor second apart, which brings me to another name that's sometimes referred to as the double diminished scale. That's another name for it. Okay, so obviously, if we're thinking about the second degree here and then going up minor thirds, we have an exact diminished chord, right? And we can just move that around. That's not really anything amazing. But what is pretty cool is to actually take the top note of the diminished chord and put that up a half step. And we get this really crunchy voicing, which if we're thinking about it over C7 would be flat 9, third, fifth and root, which aside from the flat 9 isn't really amazingly interesting, but the distribution of the intervals creates a really nice color. And we can move that shape around minor thirds. And when we move it around minor thirds, we actually get some increased tension. If we take the shape here, we've now got, instead of the flat 9, we've now got the sharp 9. If we move it up again, we've got the flat 9 and the sharp 11. And if we move it up again, we've we've got the flat 9 and the 13th, right? So that can be comped on. Or again, you can practice. Arpeggiating through the chords for soloing. Okay, now if we take that shape and move it by step, move it down by step to the next step of the scale. Okay, so every note's just moving down to the very next note within the C diminished scale. E is going to become E flat, G is going to become G flat or F sharp. B flat's going to become A, and E flat's going to become D flat. Okay, and if you've got some experience, you might recognize this chord as being a minor 7 flat 5 or a half diminished chord. Now again, because of the symmetry of the scale, this pattern will continue forever, basically. You're going to get the diminished chord with the raised note at the top, and then it's going to become a minor 7 flat 5. Diminished chord with the raised note at the top, minor 7 flat 5. Diminished chord, raised note at the top, minor 7 flat 5. And that's got a really nice, sophisticated sound to it. Also shows you that you can actually use this scale over minor 7 flat 5 chords, which is not something which is typically spoken about very often. But there's 4 of them inside the scale, 4 minor 7 flat 5s. Right? Typically, we just think about it over dominant chords, but you can use it on a minor 7 flat 5. It will sound a bit out, but that's okay. Probably cover that in a different video. All right, now there's actually more 7th chords as well that we could talk about, but I want to actually talk now the other way. I'm going to shrink this. I'm going to talk about the intervals, what I call dyad pairs, because I can't think of a better name for it. And I've never actually seen this spoken about before anywhere, and this was actually the main thing I wanted to talk about this scale, because I think it's something that maybe, I don't know, some people just haven't noticed, but I think it's really cool. So because the scale is just made up of repeated minor thirds, obviously, if we just have 2 notes separated by a minor third, they will always be separated by a minor third. Okay? That's all minor thirds. No difference. And if we play any interval, or separate the scale by any interval which is a multiple of a minor third, like a tritone, the same thing will hold true. We can play through the whole scale. Oops, not best fingering. We can play through the whole scale, and it will be exactly a tritone between the 2 hands. And the next one would be actually the major 6th, okay? That's another minor third up, and we could do that as well. Okay? Exact same interval the whole time through. Now it's got its own cool sound, and I still think that's worth practicing. But what's really interesting is that if we take an interval that is not a multiple of a minor third, then it's going to continually switch between 2 different intervals every time we move through the scale. Didn't explain that super well, but I'll show you, and hopefully it'll become apparent. Okay, so let's take the major third that occurs here, right? If I go to the next note up from the E, I'm going to get to F sharp. If I go to the next note up from the C, I'm going to get to C sharp. That's not a major third, that is a perfect 4th. Now if we then go to the next note up at the top, the F sharp's going to become G, the C sharp's going to become E flat. That's a major third again. If we go up from the G to the A and the E flat to the E, that's a perfect fourth again. So hopefully you can see the pattern. If I begin on a major third, I will alternate with perfect fourths. And that will happen throughout the whole scale. Now, I love that sound. That's a really great sophisticated sound, which is naturally built into the scale. And I call these dyad pairs because if we take a regular scale, like a regular major scale, and I start it with thirds, I'm going to get a major third, a minor third, a minor third, a major third, a major third, a minor third, a minor third, and a major third. Lots of different major or minor thirds, and there's no symmetry to it. But here, it's completely symmetrical. And that attracts my ear. It sounds logical. Okay? So again, let's practice this. We can practice this going up one and down the other. Now that's not the only dyad pair, okay? We can also take, like I said, any interval that is not a multiple of a minor third and it will have the same effect. Let's take the perfect fifth here, okay? Perfect fifth will alternate with a minor sixth. Perfect fifth, minor sixth. Perfect fifth, minor sixth. Perfect fifth, minor sixth. Really cool sound, especially if you feel like you've been soloing for a while and you're just, very stepwise, doing a lot of that kind of thing. And you want to break it up now. Stick something like that in, boom. Really cool sound. Now there's a couple of other ones too. We could start with a minor seventh that will actually alternate with a major seventh. I wouldn't call this one super useful because they're both pretty dissonant intervals. It's kind of cool, but it wouldn't be something that I would practice a lot. It hasn't been something that I've practiced a lot. And the only other interval that we have is actually just the minor second, which will move to a major second, alternate to a major second. So minor second, major second, major second, minor second, major second, minor second, major second. Again, not super useful, very dissonant. Kind of quirky, I guess. Maybe Thelonious Monk would dig it. Okay. So my advice would be, to take any of these and work them through some patterns, just going up and down each pair, whether it's a dyad pair or a triad pair, or a seventh chord. Put the metronome on, always put the metronome on, always. That's how you improve your sense of time, and you know that you can measure if you're actually improving, because you have a basis. You can go, right, yeah, cool. I can do this at eighth notes at at 80 BPM without making a mistake. But I can't do it at 90 BPM. Well, now you've got a measurement, right? You can, every time you sit down for your daily practice, you can gradually increase it. If you're not using the metronome, you're not improving your time, and it's much harder to keep track of if you're actually making progress. So please use a metronome. And then you want to move it in different keys. Now, this is the last thing to talk about, because the diminished scale is, again, symmetrical by minor thirds. It's actually only 3 different diminished scales, right? There's C, okay, which we've been doing. There's C sharp, and there's D. Because once we get to E flat, it's the same as the C, right? C, E flat, exact same notes, right? So there's actually only 3 different ones. That's the good news. All of the stuff, there might be a lot in there, a lot to practice, but you only really have to do it 3 times, okay? If you practice this stuff 3 times, you can use it against all 12 keys, because playing over C7, I'd use the C half whole, but also playing over E flat 7, I would use, in inverted commas, the C half whole. It's not really the C half whole, it's probably really the E flat, but it's the same thing, so it doesn't matter, right? And I would encourage you to then practice some tunes from the real book, Autumn Leaves or whatever you're working on. And whenever there's a dominant 7th chord, try to insert some of these patterns through it. And maybe I'll do a video on that some other time. But I think this is long enough for now. I hope some of you found that interesting. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and I'll try to answer as many as I can. All right, that's all for me today. Thanks. See ya.